It all started with a text to my friend. What do you do if you fall for a girl who thinks you're straight? Their response? Tell her you aren't. Well, I didn't do that exactly. We were working together at a sleepaway camp. The next night, the girl and I were putting away supplies from a program that I had run that evening. We were chatting and she was going on about some guy on the staff who kept flirting with her and how it made her really uncomfortable. And eventually she turned the conversation to me. So Celia, is there anyone that you like? Being the suave, cool, and collected individual that I am, I managed to choke out a maybe. Of sorts, which of course turned into an intense round of questioning. Eventually, instead of asking who it was, she asked me why I wouldn't tell her. So instead of brushing it off, I dragged her behind the summer offices and I said, "This is why." And then I fumblingly kissed her on the cheek. After that, I walked away, leaving her slightly confused and running after me with questions. I answered them with simple yeses and nos, and soon we reached the point where our paths separated to our own bunks. The next morning and for a few days following, nothing was said about the uncharacteristically bold encounter from that evening. Finally, breaching my comfort zone once again, I asked to talk. And later that night, she told me she didn't know what to do. She hadn't ever thought of me before in the way that I suggested, simply because she thought I was the straightest girl in the world. I turned that on its head. She didn't want to ruin our friendship by hurting me if I wanted her more than she wanted me. She just wasn't sure yet. The next week, nothing really happened. We flirted and hugged and stuff, and we didn't talk about anything, we didn't spend any time alone. And then came Friday night. After our weekly staff meeting with all our campers tucked in bed, we set off to wander around the camp. But this time, we were alone. We ended up on the benches by the soccer field, cuddling, laughing, staring at the stars. As curfew drew closer and closer, nothing had happened. But as we got up to leave, she kissed me. She actually kissed me. A girl kissed me. And it felt wonderful. All the things that people say should happen when you kiss the person you like happened. It happened. It was right. I walked her to her bunk, and on the back porch she kissed me again, this time to say goodnight. And from then on, our last month at camp continued in a similar fashion. Neither of us really asked the other one out. It was just sort of understood. She was my girlfriend, and I was her girlfriend. We spent our evenings off cuddling in the staff lounge, cuddling under the stars, making out in some dark hidden corner of the camp where no one could find us, walking along hand in hand, getting looks from everybody on the staff who thought I was straight. The night before we left, all the campers had gone. We spent most of the night cuddling in the same bed, dozing, stroking, occasionally kissing with the lightest touch. The next day we cried. The tears that slid down our cheeks mixed and intermingled and slipped between our lips as we kissed our last goodbye. It's the most beautiful sentence I've ever heard in my life. We really don't know where to go from here. Heck, I don't even know if it was love. But it was special. In a week she goes to school in Vermont. In another week I leave for school in Boston. We have Skype, we have phones, we want to make it work. But you can never really tell. But we'll try because we want it for ourselves. More importantly, because we want it for each other. I don't know if this is really a love story, or a story at all because it doesn't have an ending, but it's mine, and I'll treasure it. I like making these videos. If you have a love story or a confession that you'd like me to read in a video thing, you should send it to SendLoveAndConfessions@gmail.com. Goodbye, lovely internet people. See you next week. I met Laura in 8th grade. I thought she was nice, but I was kind of looking for attention from one of her friends. And I was on a painkiller binge at the time. This really wasn't unusual for me. At that time, I was pretty much always high. It's unfortunate, but that's the method I chose.